I was born to a teenage girl and a married man in 1977. My mother used to tell me that I came out of the womb angry and ready to fight. I learned quickly how to fight, argue, scream, and not trust from the relationships that mattered most to me. In fact, all the relationships in my life follow the same patterns: fighting, cheating, and lying. This only fueled my mistrust and anger, causing me to shut out positivity and embrace negativity like gangs and drugs. I almost lost my life and the life of my unborn child outside of a local 7-Eleven by a rival gang member at the age of 17. I had a huge chip on my shoulder. I felt like a victim of my childhood, but it was time for me to be the adult, and I had no idea how. I had fulfilled the prophecy that my environment had labeled me: evil from birth. But it was merely a defense mechanism to survive in my environment, so I found myself in a homeless shelter with my 1-year-old child. I thrived under the rules of the shelter and quickly found an apartment. Becoming pregnant forced me to take on a new identity of mom, and it was my first motivation to leave my lifestyle and make a new life for myself and my child. When I got my own apartment and subsidized housing, I was 18 years old. At 18, with an apartment, I was a perfect target for every hustler, player, or drug dealer around. I was abused physically, sexually, and mentally on a daily basis. I ended up pregnant again and again. In 2006, I found myself alone, used up, with 5 hungry mouths to feed. I was so afraid to leave because I thought I couldn't make it financially, or the fear of having my kids never have a father figure would hold me back. In fact, most of my pregnancies were forced upon me just to keep me in the relationship. I did not realize until I wanted a divorce after only 9 months that I was living the same way my mother was. I was simply looking for love in all the wrong places. That sparked my motivation to further my education and make something of myself. I did not want to depend on a relationship to survive. I wanted my girls to be independent as well. I was introduced to getting ahead by my child care caseworker at Job and Family Services. She watched me work for years and attempt to take courses with little success. She felt that with my desire to do better, I might benefit from the class. Going through getting ahead classes was really a personal battle for me, realizing that a lot of my situations and feelings that I had about poverty all my life was keeping me bound to it. This was an aha moment for me. When I began to understand that I was a victim of generational poverty, that's when I found the strength to overcome it. It motivated me to want to break the cycle for my children and their children. I think having lower expectations for your life because of your economic status is a reality for far too many people. Assigning blame doesn't address the problem. When you are personally responsible for your life is when your life becomes worth living. When you grow up in poverty, you tend to believe that your life is already set. You think you have no choices and you are fated to be just like your family and neighbors. Getting ahead definitely improved my quality of life and opened my spectrum of thinking. I am no longer a victim unless I make the choice to be. Getting ahead also equipped me with the tools that I needed to help set my goals while instilling hope, self-esteem, and irreplaceable connections to the community. I've never been so connected with my community. My work involvement with subsidized housing, neighborhood watch, school functions, community events, and art programs for local kids has helped me in my healing process just as much as it's helped my community. Until 7 years ago, I thought gangs, drugs, and babies were my options in life, and that I cannot be anything else. I did not believe that dreams come true or that I had a purpose outside of making sure my kids were fed and safe. Somehow, in all the tyranny of the moments, I lost the ability to focus, dream, and control my own life. I had been reacting to all the side effects of the root problems in my life. I had grown so bitter from isolation and the need for survival that I had no concern for others and felt like my life was fated to be what it was, a mess. In fact, the more I came to terms with who I was prior, I was overwhelmed with remorse and regret for the way I had hurt and treated people. And at many times, despite my upbringing, the way I was living was inexcusable. I had gotten so used to being the disappointment or failure that I stopped caring about what or how people felt about me. Now, with the acknowledgement of others and positive reinforcement that I was receiving from reaching my goals, it felt good and it made me care again. I have facilitated numerous getting ahead investigations, poverty simulations, and bridges out of poverty trainings. Currently, I am a proud education and family coordinator at Partners in Hope, and I also work with families in subsidized housing unit called Garden Manor, connecting families with getting ahead and other resources to build community. Once I truly understood the key resources, which are emotional, spiritual, physical, financial, bonding, bridging, networking, integrity, trust, motivation, persistence, and hidden rules, and their interconnection between one another, it helped me see the relevance in higher learning. I embraced it with even more passion than I had for being in a gang, or the love I had for the neighborhood, or the anger I had from my childhood. I was finally able to focus and create a plan that allowed me to thrive without the immediate affirmation of others on my block. Changing my perception, not my address, my clothes, or the amount of money I had, opened up a world of choices and a sense of accountability and social responsibility. Opening up my heart to God is allowing me to forgive myself and allowing me the strength to continue on the right path. My intention is to spend my life helping others figure out how they can build these key resources in their lives so they may too have the choice to choose life and not feel fated to their circumstances. The day I watched my oldest daughter go to college instead of her funeral or a gang initiation was the day I knew it was all worth it. I made college more than a dream for my children. I made it a reality. They know if mom can do it, so can I. They also have seen firsthand that it takes commitment, discipline, and support. I am choosing to be the leader of my family first so that I may be the light in my community. Life is a process in which we choose to lead or be led. I choose to lead. Which will you choose?